Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the changes coming to PTU. Recently, there was a post kind of going over the changes from what we have now. And if you guys don't know much about PTU, basically it gets rolled out into waves, where wave one is essentially concierge and subscribers, and then wave two is the most active players, and then there's open PTU. So the changes kind of create like a tiered system where there are different waves depending on how much you play. There's a little bit of drama in the community about kind of the way CIG has rolled this out. There was an update kind of illustrating what CIG's intentions are for this change. And basically, the main takeaway here is this part of Will's post. And he says over 95% of players play PTU just once. Check it out. And that's it. The PTU is not persistent. You lose all your progress on it, and it is very buggy and very broken, and a lot of people have trouble running it in a good way. So if you are a regular adult who has a busy life, you want to spend your free time realistically, playing something that you can engage with in a more meaningful way. If you have a lot of time, or if you're a content creator, of course, content creators, they do this as a hobby, or they do this as a profession. They get paid to do it essentially. And so it makes a lot of sense for them to invest a lot of time testing and making content about the PTU. But for a regular person, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're concierge or if you're a subscriber, you're more than likely to just go into the PTU to check out the new updates, and that's it. When I get into PTU, a lot of times it's a pretty similar situation. I can remember when they added the looting system. I got into PTU. I went to look for the derelict ships, and did the whole jumping puzzle to look for the loot. I found some pretty rare guns, and that was cool and exciting, but the realization hits you that you're not going to be able to keep any of this stuff. And it is true that in live you don't really get to keep that stuff because they're all wipes, but it is a different situation because you can really use those things in a more meaningful way. Like if you plan on using that weaponry to do some kind of boarding mission or piracy, you want a rail gun so you can do jump town. It's a different scale of content. It's a different scale of engagement with other players. It does make sense to have a little bit more progression on live, even though they're all wipes on live. Still, you're engaging with the game in a very different way than you are with PTU. With PTU, it's a lot more temporary. So it can be fatiguing for players. They want to also be able to experience the game kind of in a fresh light for the first time. That is more exciting. When 318 came out live, there was a lot of people who took off from work so they can stay home and try out the game for the first time. They want to be in the first rush where everybody's excited to get into the game and engage with the content. There is definitely something to be said about that feeling of day one release, and everyone being excited to check out the content. And you kind of miss that when you see everything on PTU. So a lot of people kind of don't want the content to be spoiled for them. I know even when it comes to content creation, a lot of people don't like to look at all of the videos made on PTU content because they kind of want to experience it for themselves. And that's completely fair. I think that makes a lot of sense. So if the goal is to get more people, in my opinion, to test the PTU, I don't feel like this is really going to change that much, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Because the way it kind of stacks up now is that wave one, now, the way they're changing it, has, subscribers still. It has the most active players, which, we don't really know what that means, or what that looks like. There's no forward facing metric that the players can look at and say, yes, I'm probably going to be in wave one. I mean, if you go on Steam, you can see how many hours you've played. But, unless you sit down there with a calculator and calculate it for yourself, you don't really know if you're going to be in wave one or not. So, I mean, that's kind of a major downside to this system, in my opinion, is that we don't have access to those metrics. And then, of course, wave one, you've got subscribers, which I don't know, that the optics of that to me are kind of not good. I feel like the reason why CAG might have done it is because reconfiguring the priority of concierge is kind of not that big of a deal, because they can't change their status. I mean, once you are Praetorian, you're Praetorian, unless you do some kind of support ticket to try to refund your whole account. I don't, getting into that, I don't even know. But realistically, no, someone's probably not going to refund a $25,000 account because, or $20,000 account because they lost wave one access. That'd be, exceptionally dramatic. But kind of putting it into this tier system, this like pseudo class system, is not really a great look, because it kind of paints this picture that the PTU is just pay to play. You get a $10 subscription and you have the same amount of access as somebody who has spent $25,000 to play the game. That doesn't look good. But I think they did it because concierge can't change their status, but subscribers can. And wave one access has long been a subscriber perk. If you are a subscriber, you get access to wave one. So you can't really take away subscribers access to the PTU waves. That, of course, is going to rub a lot of subscribers the wrong way, because they're essentially paying for a service that you've kind of promised them. You've promised them, they would get subscriber flair, they would get the newsletter, they would get wallpapers, they would get discounts. And if you take away that stuff, people might cancel their subscription. And kind of right now, CAG doesn't need that. CAG kind of can use all the funding they can get. I feel like it's kind of a situation that happened inadvertently, that they were like, okay, we have to continue to support the kind of promises we've made to subscribers, but we also still want to build this system that gives us the ability to kind of load balance PTU. But I kind of feel like that won't be successful. Again, what a lot of people are going to do, and I'll kind of click out on this real quick, and I wanted to show you guys a poll I saw on Reddit, because you guys know I'm chronically on Reddit. Okay, so this is the poll we're looking at here. Question is posted by Shenanigans: when will you log to the next PTU? Log into the next PTU. Okay, so during the newly scheduled PTU wave, if and whenever I get around to it, and I'll sit out until live. And most people chose that they'll sit out because, I mean, ultimately, if you're not a subscriber, you're going to pay $10 to play PTU one time? Maybe not, So I kind of feel like it has the potential to have an adverse effect on, the different wave cycles. And, I'm not the kind of person who likes to complain and not provide solutions. So here's kind of what I think about this whole situation. I think realistically, the kind of best way to go about it is to just give rewards for PTU gameplay time. It's this, I mean, this is not a new concept. I'm not the first person to come up with this, players have been saying this about the PTU for a really long time. We know that people aren't testing in the PTU the way they're supposed to. If you've been a part of this community for a long time, you would know that people don't use the PTU the way they should be. It's not really a test environment. It's kind of just like a playground for new features. And what kind of ends up happening is that the feedback loop to the devs from the players, the information isn't as accurate as it could be. I mean, you jump in, the game is performing like crap, you're not into it, you log out, that's kind of the end of the story. And if CIG really need, crowdsourced QA, I kind of feel like that, people should get rewarded for that. I mean, QA gets paid. And a lot of things that people have suggested in the past was that, maybe players who test more in the PTU should get more starting money when the game goes live. Like you play for an hour, you get an extra 10K in starting money. That type of thing. And so I was thinking about this thing a little bit further. I think maybe even something like, forum badges, saying like, let's say you played one day, you get a novice badge. You play 2 days, you get like an entry level badge. You play 3 days, you get like an intermediate badge. You play 4 days, you get like a advanced badge. 5 days experience, and so on, And so the more days you play, kind of, just like IAE, you go on day 1 of IAE, you get a badge that said you went, on Crusader Day, you went and you played on Drake Day. And so people will look at these badges and go, hey, this person is an experienced PTU tester. And what would be like the big thing about this is that, you could essentially make it so that the higher levels is what kind of informs who you choose to be in the next waves for the next PTU. So let's say you played for 7 days doing PTU and you got an experienced tester badge. So the next PTU that comes out, you'll be in wave 1. And so that if you got the experienced tester badge, you'll automatically be in wave 1. And so then CIG will have just people who are really willing. They'll have more people who are really willing to test these bugs in wave 1, rather than just having a bunch of people who are going to play for 1 day and then just never touch PTU again until live comes out. So in my opinion, a system like a more forward-facing system like that, where the players can see, what wave they're actually gonna be in. I mean, again, you can pare it down. Let's say there's 4 PTU waves. You have 4 levels. You play for the first week, you get the first week badge. You play for the second week, you get the second week badge. Because something that they said too is that these waves might be close together. Some of these waves might be in the same day. I mean, I'd love to give them the benefit of the doubt, but in my opinion, that's not likely. It's not likely that a PTU wave is gonna last. If that multiple PTU waves is gonna last in 1 day. I mean, sometimes PTU lasts like 3 months. I mean, look how long 320 has been in Evocati. Again, I don't want to say that they're lying, but that to me is very optimistic. It's very optimistic to say that the PTU wave durations is going to be shorter. You really don't know that. Probably not going to change much. These changes, people are probably going to continue to treat the PTU the way they do now. There might be some people who subscribe just to check it out and then unsubscribe. There might be people who avoid PTU completely, like the plague. And there might be, people who play regularly, like content creators who just get instant access to wave 1, and they make YouTube videos about it. And for a lot of people, that's good enough. Like for a lot of people who don't play the game, like again, I'm being realistic about this situation. A lot of people don't play the game. They watch YouTube videos. They check out the progress through content creators. because they can't play the game on their current system, or they don't have the time to, spend 15 minutes in quantum. They just want to, know that the game is out there being worked on, and when the progress is actually being shown that it's getting better, then they'll actually jump in and dedicate more of their time, because people want this game to be the game that they can just like completely know life. They want to be able to sit down at the desk and just like have their family ignore them for a couple of hours and enjoy the game. It's not in that state right now. PTU is definitely not in that state. So I feel like CIG should give people some kind of reward, some kind of incentive to play if they want people to actually play it the way they see it being played and being tested. But yeah, that's kind of my take on the situation. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's too dramatic. I just think that it's not going to work the way they think it's going to work. But, best of luck to them. I hope it does work. I hope they can get the data that they need to essentially make sure that the next PTU cycle isn't like 318, because 318 was so brutal for the game. It was so brutal for community morale to have the game in that kind of state where, everybody was so hyped, everybody was so excited. Like, CIG can't have that keep happening, especially with 4.0. I mean, 320 is a good patch to kind of test the system out in, because it's not really there aren't really that many features, but 4.0 cannot be like 318. That would be devastating for the community. That would be super brutal for morale in the game. I feel like 4.0 needs to be smooth. It's got to be. So in my opinion, whatever they need to do to make that happen, they need to do it, and we'll see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you spent a lot of time on Reddit looking at this stuff? I've been looking at some of the memes. They're pretty funny, pretty entertaining. In this video, I don't have access to my usual setup, so I'm kind of no camming it today. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get on here and make this video real quick for you guys. So let me know what you think of this format as well. I love hearing from you guys in the comments down below. You guys are awesome, rock stars, supporting the videos. I cannot thank you enough. Literally, you guys are awesome. So that's gonna be it from me here today, you guys. Like I always say in these videos, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Salut.